Welcome, everyone, to a very special edition of In the Spotlight. Joining me tonight is one of my all-time favorite singers, who also happens to be one of the Rosie and Bill Show's all-time favorite guests, John Berry. John, welcome back and welcome to the Spotlight.
Good to be with you. Good to be with you in the hot white spotlight.
Yeah. Yes, and I will tell you the lights and the background where you are, it is beautiful because that's not manufactured, that's real behind you.
Yeah, we live in a very nice, very small neighborhood, and on the other side of that hedge of trees, there's three houses right there, right there. You never know it. You can't hear them because of the little waterfall, and you can't see them because of the trees. So it's nice. We used to have a lot more trees here, like on this side here, and along the fence on this side. But we had a wind come through 2 years ago, and we lost 19 trees back here.
Wow.
I don't know where we put them. I don't know how we put them back, but it
Wow.
was. But one of the most beautiful. We had a blue atlas right here by the pond. It's just a gorgeous little tree, and I'm glad I wasn't here when Robin just stood in the window watching when the wind came and just watched it fall down. Sad.
Wow. Yeah, it's got to be a helpless feeling. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because you can't do anything about it. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's for sure. Well, it still looks beautiful. And again, I really appreciate you taking the time to join me here tonight, John. I'm looking at this year, 2024, and there's been quite a few significant milestones for you already this year. 5 years of being cancer free, the 30th anniversary of Your Love Amazes Me. And in November, you kick off the 28th year of your Christmas tour. And just within the past few days, the re-release of All Come Together, one of my favorite videos. And I want to get into that in just a little bit. But first, I want to talk about that significant 5 year mark. Five
yeah,
years of being cancer free, John. Is there a better anniversary than that?
no, that's about as cool as it gets. Yeah, that was a pretty tough road at first, and I didn't handle it well. I didn't. I had a bad attitude about it. And, healing is a lot about attitude. And I was really in a bad way.
Hmm.
And for me, being a follower of Jesus Christ, it's the wrong place for me to be. But I shouldn't base my happiness on my circumstances. Circumstances are tough. I don't care who you are. Life can be really hard, and but we can't try to base our happiness on just everyday life and our job and our family and all that, because we're going to be let down. And but I found that basing it on my faith in Christ is that's where my happiness is. So,
Yeah,
and it's never changing.
absolutely, John. And I admire you for that. And kudos to you for that, because I will tell you, when you're a singer and when you are a singer such as yourself, throat cancer, I mean, it's just, it really hits home. So I can understand how you might not handle it well, at least initially. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's your
my
livelihood, that's your love, that's your passion.
when the doctor looked down my throat, he turned off his flashlight and he said, "We tell it it's the way it is around here. You've got throat cancer." You could have pushed me over with a feather. I'm telling you, that's the last thing in the world I expected to hear. I never in a million years expected to hear throat cancer. But there it was,
Yeah.
in all
Well,
its flaming glory.
but the good news is it's now 5 years in the rear
Yeah.
view mirror. So congratulations. And I look forward to the 10th year, the 15th year, and every significant milestone moving forward of
Yeah.
being cancer free,
Another
John.
milestone. 2 weeks ago, I turned 65. Oh,
No.
yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that.
A matter of fact, I got signed up for Medicare today. I am my grandfather.
Yeah. And then there's certain days of the week when certain retail outlets, they give you discounts too.
Come on. Probably get free coffee. Too bad I don't drink it. So
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Well, we just talked about your voice a couple of minutes ago, and one of the most memorable songs of your career just hit the 30-year mark of hitting number one on the charts. Your Love Amazes Me. And it's something that amazes me, John, is that after what we just talked about that you went through several years ago, And here we are 30 years removed from that song hitting number one. And what a lot of people don't know is you had put out a lot of great music before that. You know, you've got what, 25 albums altogether you've put out over the years. But
Yeah.
what fascinates me is that here we are, you're 65, it's 2024, you sound just as good as you ever have. And I'm curious, is there anything that comes close to that feeling when you sit on that stage or stand on that stage and perform in front of your fans because you still do it so incredibly well?
Well, I feel blessed that God's been faithful to restore my voice after vocal cord surgery back in 1997, and now through throat cancer, and the biggest issue I have now is just not getting out to sing enough to
Mm.
keep those muscles doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so I've got a show Saturday, and so I got to get ready for that and get some singing in this week before Saturday gets here. And but there's nothing quite like it, especially when it's a good night. You know, you can tell when you get up there and start singing, get 3 or 4 songs in, you can tell if it's going to be any struggling going on, or if it's just going to ease on out. You know, so we always pray for the ease on out.
For sure. Now, has your approach changed at all? You just said you're going to start some singing because you've got the show coming Saturday, but do you still go through some of the same routines that you always had, or have you changed things up?
Well, yeah, I've never had any routine. I just because typically back when I was on the radio and stuff a lot, I had so many shows. Matter of fact, I had so many shows back in 1997 that I had to have vocal cord surgery. I developed a polyp in my vocal cord from beating my tonsils, my vocal cords together so hard,
Wow.
singing so much. But now I really have to. I have to just go sit in my office and sing and play my guitar, and just try and get as much in as I can. And the biggest issue is that nothing's like singing in front of people.
Mm.
It's completely different than sitting in the house playing a guitar, because
Yeah.
when you're in front of people, you're on, and the switch is on, and you know, you're pushing a little harder and all those things. So it's just a different scenario.
Yeah. And to me, you know, just watching you, it's like it never gets old, does it?
No, that never get old. And fortunately, I've been able to have recorded songs I love to sing, and um, uh, I wish I was a better guitar player, because I've got so many songs that I wish that they're piano driven, and when I'm doing stuff by myself, I can't do those songs because
Oh.
I'm not a good enough guitar player to pull that stuff off. And but it's like I said, I have recorded songs I love to sing, so it doesn't never get old.
Yeah, and it's obviously it never gets old for the folks that are coming out to hear you as well.
Oh,
Now,
I hope not.
no, no, absolutely not. Now, I mentioned a couple minutes ago, and this is like, wow, 28th year, because we had you on 2 years ago. We were talking about your Christmas tour then, and you were actually in like a giant warehouse and you were working on lights. I'll never forget, you were kind of
Uh,
walking around working on the lights as we were talking and everything. And I thought that was so cool. But what's it like coming up now year 28 of your Christmas tour?
yeah, it's crazy that we've been doing it that long. It's kind of shocking, actually. And yeah, just think there's a whole generation of people who weren't even born yet. You know, so but
Well, that's
it's great. It's been a real blessing to be able to go out and share music, singing about Christ and Him being born, and you know, how that gift to us, and through salvation through Him, and it's just an amazing time, and to go share that time of year, because we're very traditional in our approach, and though we might try to make the songs sound fresh and and have a little something new on it, but without changing it, you know, because people like me, I love the traditional part of Christmas music, and I love the melodies, and I love the lyrics, and so I don't want to mess with that too much. So I try to keep it kind of true to what the songs were. I think when they were written, um, and try to stay true to that approach.
Mhm.
And like I say, it's kind of traditional, but it's what we do. And so,
Is there a Christmas song that's a favorite of yours, or maybe a couple that you just love?
well, I love, of course, I love "Oh Holy Night." There's just nothing about that song I don't like. I mean, it's just an amazing piece of music, and I just feel blessed every time I get to sing it. Um, there's a song I wrote called "I Don't Want to Rush This Christmas." Wrote with some friends. That has become one of my favorite Christmas songs to sing.
Your version of "Oh Holy Night," the video that's out there is just phenomenal. It's a must see every Christmas season for me and my family.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember the little clips of the baby's hand,
Yeah,
and that's my son Caleb, who is
really.
getting ready to be 30 years old.
Yeah, and quite a drummer, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, I didn't know that. Well,
yeah,
we learned something new every. Not, so I'm going to be
and was
looking at it a little
shot
differently.
the interior shots in that beautiful church
Yeah.
that's downtown Nashville. Is one of the oldest churches in town, and some of the most beautiful stained glass I've ever seen. And so we got to shoot it there, and that was a real treat.
Wow. Yeah, it is a beautiful video, beautiful song, and the way you do it, like I said, it is a must see. And folks, Oh Holy Night, look it up on YouTube, watch John's version. I promise you'll be glad you did. It's really amazing. And another thing I saw too that's coming up for you, John, later this month is you're going to be one of the performers at the 10th annual Josie Awards at the party, I think on Saturday night. So
Yeah.
how did that come about and how cool is that? Looks like
I
it's
have
going to
no
be a great
idea.
night.
I don't know. I'm glad it did come about, but so I'm looking forward to being there with them and kick up some fun music and have a big time with them. But I'm looking forward to being there.
Yeah. No, I looked at the lineup and I saw you right there on that Saturday night right there. I said, okay, I got to talk with John about this. That looks pretty cool. 2 nights of festivities.
It should be a lot of fun.
Another thing I wanted to talk about as well is the re-release of your video, All Come Together. Now, you did some great work a few years back with, I believe it was Hurricane Harvey, where in addition to the song and the video, you also were there doing some work, mucking houses and doing different things there too. So, you've done a lot to help these folks in their time of need. So what inspired this re-release of that wonderful video?
Well, um, when disasters like this happen, which they seem to happen way too often, uh, we almost all of us, at least I hope all of us, feel the need to do something, you know. And what I can do is draw attention to organizations that are working hard to help people. And if we can't go and put on some muck boots and go help clean up houses and get people's belongings back together or help get a house built again or whatever, we can. Sometimes it's not feasible to donate our time because it's on the other side of the country or wherever it might be, but we might be able to donate a few dollars or a lot of dollars, depending on your circumstances. And at the end of the video, there's a list of different organizations that are really, really mindful of the gifts that they are given and to make use of those gifts in the best possible way. And I know there are several people listed. The one I'm most familiar with is Samaritan's Purse.
Yeah.
And Franklin Graham's organization. And my wife, Robin, and I, and our bass player, Michael, during Hurricane Harvey, we loaded up right after the hurricane hit. About the next week, we loaded up on my bus and went to Houston and volunteered with Samaritan's Purse for about a week and got to literally see what it's like. And it's, man, you see these houses and you think 3 feet of water, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, everything, you walk into the house and they tell you that when you go in, you'll see a red line on the wall, on the sheetrock or wherever it's at. And wherever that red line is, everything below that line, except the studs, goes to the street curb. Carpet, appliances, sheetrock, electrical boxes, everything. You take it out, and throw it away. Because once it's gotten to that situation, of course, down there too, on the coast like that, you got a lot of salt.
Oh
Not,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of fresh water, but there's a lot of salt that gets mixed in, salt water gets mixed in. And it just, we went to one house and I guess it must have been a little lower level, but they had, when we got there, they were taking up the ceiling sheetrock. And there was a family that lived in that house. They were living in the attic, or plywood on top in the attic with sleeping bags, and just didn't have a place to go. So
Wow. And that is amazing, John. Like I said, that you did that. And I know that I've seen before, whether it's these natural disasters. I remember during COVID, Franklin Graham and Samaritan's Purse, they are like first on the scene. It is amazing what that organization does. There's a lot of organizations out there, but their feet hit the street and they get the work done. It's amazing to see.
and I think Franklin and Samaritan's Purse is not always not just only the first on the scene, but I think pretty much they're the last on the scene.
Wow.
Their commitment is to the end, and they stay there and help people until they, until the job's done. And so very proud to be associated with them, and what great work that they do.
Yeah, and folks, I just want to add again, so at the end of the video, like John said, you'll see Samaritan's Purse. There's other organizations, there's ways that you can help
Yeah.
after you've enjoyed that video. And I know when that first came out, John, and I remember watching it, and I'm looking Brian White, Colin Ray, Heidi Newfield, John Cowan, your son on drums, John Oates. I can't name them all. It would take the rest of the night. But how were you able to get everybody together initially to do that video and sing that
I,
song?
I think Brian Smith, my manager, had most to do with that. He's friends with a lot of people and a lot of other managers, and he put the call out, and people responded more than we ever imagined. I couldn't believe how many folks happened to be in town and could make it and be a part of that. And we refer to it as our little redneck "We Are the World" moment.
No, it was phenomenal. It really is. And it's another one of those videos that I watch often. And when I saw that it was re-released, I've shared it with as many people as I can because it's for a great cause. And it's also a great song. And one thing I will have to add about Brian, because he may be watching, but Brian's a great guy. He's only got one minor flaw, and I know I shouldn't say this, but that whole Atlanta Braves thing, being from Philadelphia, I don't know.
Come on, go Braves!
I will tell you, I was really hoping that they would have went a little further because I'm a little worried about these New York Mets. That's for sure. I'd rather see the Braves go further than the Mets.
Huh.
No offense to my New York friends and family.
Yeah, I'm a big. I grew up in Atlanta and have memories of sitting in the outfield and yelling down at Hank to throw us a ball. And he was always real great. He'd throw balls up into the stands and seats where we were. I never got one of his, but it was
Wow.
always a lot of fun.
Yeah, and
Fulton
ironically,
County Stadium.
yeah, one of my favorites of all time, who I think is probably he should be in the Hall of Fame because they always talk about how character and all those kind of things matter to get in the Hall of Fame. And because he finished at 398 home runs and didn't get to 400, he was two-time back-to-back MVP, probably the classiest guy in the history of baseball, Dale Murphy. Back when TBS would carry the Braves nationwide, I used to watch this guy play. And then he finally came to the Phillies towards the tail end of his career. But yeah, I loved watching Dale hit those balls out of there too.
Yeah, Dale was something. He was a great player, and never got to meet him, but I understand he was a really nice man and just a great ball player. And hated to see him go leave the Braves, but he still played some great ball. So
Yeah, he did. Now, one other quick sports related thing, especially after what just happened over this past weekend with Vanderbilt upsetting Alabama, because I know you're a big Georgia Bulldogs fan. So you think Georgia can run the table?
well, yeah, I think they can. There's some good. We went to the game this weekend, and they played Auburn and won, of course. But especially in the SEC, we say that SEC stands for surprises ever coming
Yeah.
because you never know because the next thing you know, Vanderbilt might beat Alabama.
That was beyond historic. That win.
That was sort of it was that that was Appalachian State.
Oh yeah, when they beat
moment.
Michigan.
Yeah. So, and that's pretty crazy.
But the difference is that was, if I remember correctly, I think that was like opening weekend of however many years that was when a lot of teams would put, what they thought were softer teams on the schedule. This was coming off Alabama and that incredible game against Georgia. So this is, to me, even more impressive because it's not like they caught them by surprise week one.
It was, and I gotta hand it to them. I'm very happy for Vanderbilt. They've got a good program. I think they've been underestimated quite a bit. Some people saying they don't belong to SEC, this or that, whatever. No, that's okay. They're a Southeastern school, and they've been an SEC team for a while, and it's going to be good for their program. It's going to be great morale for their team, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. And it's going to motivate Alabama.
Yeah, so that's for sure. And now
all around.
With the expanded playoff format this year, Alabama, Georgia, I'm sure there's a good chance they could meet again.
I'm sure they will. Yeah,
in a few months, and I'll be looking forward to watching that.
Go Dogs!
One other thing I wanted to ask you was, in addition to the Josies we talked about, your Christmas tour coming up, is there anything else in the works for you, whether it's later this year or sometime in 2025?
Well, we've been kicking ideas about recording something, so we'll see where that leads to, but we're always thinking about that and having another project and new songs, new music to sing. So we'll see where it all leads to.
Well, then, if that does come to fruition, I hope you'll come back and either join me here on the Spotlight or join us on the Rosie and Bill Show so we can talk about it.
Well, I'd love to do that.
Oh, I'd love to have you back. So, John, one last question: how's Robin doing?
She's doing great. She's in the house working on my website. We had a new website that was developed a couple months ago, and so she's doing some updating and messing around with that. And she's pulling her hair out. And she says, "I am not tech savvy," and she's a lot more tech savvy than I am. But so she's I'm gonna have to take her to dinner or something. So
yeah, there you go. Well, you know what? Let her know. I'll go check out the website tomorrow. I'm going to check it out because I know you've got some great merch and great things on the website, including your tour dates, all that good stuff on your website. So folks, go there, check out the merch, check out the tour dates, but give Robin a little time to get everything updated first.
Come on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, John, I thank you so much for joining me here on the Spotlight. Again, it's always a pleasure having you on. You are now our first 3-time guest in the Rosie and Bill Show franchise. Between the original show and the Spotlight, you are the first person to join us 3 times.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, you tell Rosie I enjoyed being here with you, but sure miss getting to see her. She's a pretty girl now.
Yeah, she is, and a lot prettier than this. That's for sure. All right, John. Well, I wish you and Robin all the best. I thank you again for joining me tonight. Folks, I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
The rain keeps coming and the flood waters up to the rafters. And they're standing on the rooftops praying for something that floats.
Ooh, somebody tell me now, why does it always take some kind of natural disaster
For us to realize we're all in the same boat. Ooh, when we all come together, that's how we weather the sorrow. And it's got me feeling hopeful. There's gonna be a brighter tomorrow. Well, no matter what your troubles, this world's gonna keep on turning. And come tomorrow morning, the sun's coming up again.
me